Y'all, let me tell you, Roland Martin is still losing his mind. First, I don't know how anyone can take him seriously or see him as a credible source after he hid that he got $350,000 from Kamala Harris. That was before that sorry softball interview he did. But he called himself coming for his good old buddy, Stephen A. Smith. I guess all that my brother stuff and that fake divine non-love goes straight out the window if you're not 100% supporting the Democrats. Yeah, if you hold the Democrats accountable to morons like Roland Martin, you're not even considered black anymore. You know, kind of like how Joe said if you didn't support him, you're not black.
Question, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Well, since Stephen A. gave an honest take, Roland Martin is now mad at him and Stephen A. is clapping back.
And we're going to get started today in the world of politics and social media, where many of you have taken issue with my takes on the political headlines. I want to say for the record, that's fair. I accept it, and it often comes with being a pundit in this business. I've accepted that a long time ago. With that being said, I want to address some recent comments from my friend Roland Martin, who took issue with my thoughts this past weekend on the Justice Department's report on the January 6th Capitol riots in 2021. In summary, I made the connection that Donald Trump appeared to be right to some degree when it came to the conspiracy theories about the FBI's involvement on that day. At least that's how some took it. Well, here's what Roland Martin had to say Monday about my comments on his show, Roland Martin Unfiltered. Take a listen.
I have no idea what the hell Stephen A. was just talking about. I know Stephen A. I respect Stephen A. Stephen A., you know sports. On this, you know what the hell you talking about. Like, I literally have no idea what the hell he was talking about there. How he's pissed off and the Democrats and Trump said stuff was rigged. And y'all, MAGA is running that clip everywhere. Oh, they are saying, oh, see, even Stephen, the truth, they all know the truth. Go to my iPad. Associated Press, Fact Focus, Inspector General's January 6th report misrepresented as proof of FBI setup. The basis of what the right has been saying is that January 6th was fine, it was great, it was wonderful, but the FBI, it was a setup. The FBI, they were behind the whole deal. They were agents. They were the ones who were starting stuff. That's the report. And so when Stephen A. is going on and they said here making Trump out to be true. No, he lied. He lied.
Couple of things. First off, Roland Martin, nice touch with the cowboy hat. You should wear it more often. It's fitting of you. You are from Texas, after all. You're a Texas fan, if I remember correctly. So it's more apropos that you put on that hat, even more so than I do. So good look there. But nice try. Ain't gonna work this way. Before I get into it any further, let me show my audience exactly what Roland Martin was replying to when he said, I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. This is what he was responding to that had him all up in a tizzy. Take a listen. The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appear to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? I'm getting to the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right to make the case that the right had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right instead of them. That is what Roland Martin is responding to. That is what he is saying. He doesn't understand what the hell I'm talking about and what I'm saying when he brings that up. First of all, let me say this about Roland Martin. Not hangout buddies or anything like that, but we are friends. He's a guest on this show anytime I ask him to. I respect his knowledge, and he is absolutely right. This is his lane, not mine. Sports is my thing. This is what he does. I get that.
Nah, what Roland is good at doing is lying and yelling all over the place, being sassy for those Democrat checks. He's a straight up political 304.
But I am allowed to be an expert on what the hell comes out of my mouth and what I believe I said. And that is why I clap back respectfully at my man Roland Martin, not his panelists chirping and mimicking and laughing and giggling in the sideline like anybody know who the hell they are. I ain't talking about them. That's a waste of my time. I'm talking about my brother Roland Martin here.
Uh-oh, Stevie Day said he's not talking to Roland's backup doo-wop singers. He said nobody knows who those losers are. And side note, this is hilarious watching both of them go back and forth because they're both full of it. But go ahead, carry on.
When you say you don't understand or you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and you have a panel to piggyback and parrot every syllable you uttered, well, why are you doing it if you didn't understand what I'm talking about? Why am I getting attacked if you don't comprehend or understand what I was saying? If it's convoluted, why not ask me to come on and clarify? Why not talk to me and say, what exactly is it that you're trying to say? That is not what Roland Martin did, ladies and gentlemen. What he did instead was marry my thoughts to these extreme conspiracy theories that the MAGA right might have put out there about the FBI having some pivotal role in what transpired on January 6th, 2021. That's what he was doing. Look at this right here. Look at this report from the DOJ. It reads, confusion and lack of coordination contributed to the FBI's inaccurate report to Congress that had canvassed field offices. After January 6th, the FBI reported to Congress that it had directed its field officers prior to January 6th to canvass their CHSS for information concerning threats in connection with the January 6th electoral certification. However, as noted, we found that no canvassing of field officers for source information had occurred. We found that the FBI statements to Congress were not intentionally inaccurate, and that confusion and lack of coordinated communications contributed to the inaccurate reporting. Why do I bring that up? It doesn't convict the FBI. It doesn't authenticate or validate assertions from the MAGA right that somehow the FBI was corrupt and they manipulated the proceedings to, invoke or provoke violence at the U.S. Capitol that ultimately will be blamed on Donald Trump. That's not what I was saying. What I was saying is, why the hell are we hearing about this now? What took the report so damn long? How come we didn't hear about this before the election? And is it possible that the reason why we didn't hear about it before the election is because folks on the left wanted to marry January 6th completely and totally and utterly to Donald Trump? Is that clear enough?
And it's funny how they're not even concerned about January 6th anymore after the election. They just really paid everybody to keep repeating that over and over to make it seem like they cared about it. Like, for instance, before the election, how many times did you hear Charlamagne on The Breakfast Club repeating January 6th over and over? Or Charlamagne and the whole Boulé choir constantly repeating that Trump is an existential threat to democracy, while at the same time supporting an outright coup on Biden and installing Curry Queen Kamala, who nobody voted for in the primary. They repeated all this stuff over and over, showing fake concern and fake outrage, attempting to program the same thoughts into us. They're all liars.
Since y'all got people chirping in you, since you got people chirping in your studio, let me chirp to people in my studio. Brandon, is that clear enough? Is that clear enough, man? I think it is. But let me go a step further. I'm a registered independent. There's people on Roland Martin Unfiltered. By the way, watch that. The brother's brilliant. I got love for him. Got over 1.5 million subscribers. Ain't trying to dissuade anybody from watching my man Roland Martin, because I watch him. What I'm saying is, these people that were behind the scenes before they came on as your panelists, I recall one person saying, I either need to know what the hell I'm talking about or admit that I'm 100% MAGA. I got news for you. I'm neither. I don't completely know all the intricate details, nor am I MAGA. I'm a registered independent who voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, by the way, they tried to sit up there and say, I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, I thought y'all were about facts. I did vote for her. I had my issues. I had my reservations, but I was unapologetic about who I was voting for, and I was very transparent about it. Where's your facts?
And Stephen A. Smith supporting Kamala was wild too, but that was his decision. He voted for her even though he knew this lady was a whole crash dummy. Again, though, he can vote for whoever he wanted to vote for. But it's funny how they still believe that if you don't go along with everything Democrats say, you gotta be MAGA. They use that as a shaming tactic. But again, it backfired on them because with that nasty elitist attitude, they actually pushed more people away from Kamala Harris and over to Trump. Yeah, it backfired.
So you get to engage in innuendo, express frustration, but I can't? Why not? Every time we turn around, all I was trying to say is that something repeatedly comes up that gives the right fodder to say, see, look what they did. When President Joe Biden decided to pardon his son Hunter, I got no problems with that. But I did have a problem with them lying about it for months, saying, we're about the rule of law. We're about the rule of law. We're about the rule of law. He said he's not going to pardon Hunter. They're about the rule of law, the rule of law, the rule of law. And then all of a sudden he pardons him and you hear crickets. So here come the right again. See, they're lying. I've often joked about people like Sean Hannity and other conservatives that I know, that if you are a Republican and you shot somebody in broad daylight on Fifth Avenue in New York City, the first words that would come out of their mouth is, the Democrats did it first. because their real salty position is not about acting like they're holier than thou. It's about the Democrats always acting like they're on a higher moral ground and they're above board when one nugget of evidence after another always comes forth showing us they're not. That is frustrating for somebody who doesn't know all the facts and intricate details and studies this night and day like Roland Martin. Everybody's industry or chosen profession isn't following what's happening on Capitol Hill and everything associated with it. People working 9 to 5s, taking care of families, getting stuck in traffic for 2 hours a day, preoccupied with an abundance of other things, relying on others to give them information, but also frustrated that everybody's got to spin. That's all I was saying. I didn't take a definitive position against anybody into perpetuity. I'm simply making the point that it gets frustrating to see little nuggets of intel always leaking out, usually after the fact, incriminating one side or the other all the damn time.
Nah, incriminating the Democrats over and over, along with their operatives, especially the black ones that get all this money from their paymasters to come to other black people trying to crack the whip on us. No, he can't tell us nothing. Roland Martin is not some high-class, high-integrity source of information. That's what he's paid to do, to lie for these devils and fight us on behalf of them.
And Roland Martin will come up with his facts, and he'll spew them out for the world to know. That doesn't erase the perception. And Roland Martin, you know this better than me, bruh. Perceptions provoke people's attitude while they walk to the polls, even more so than the facts. It's not that the facts don't matter, but that they always seem so debatable. Ultimately, it comes back to how you feel. Am I clear enough, B? Am I convoluted now, fellas, ladies? I'm a frustrated voter. I watched the Democrats get their ass kicked. I watched them in the aftermath of the election literally say, well, Trump really didn't win the popular vote. I mean, he didn't get 50% of the vote. Who cares? He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college vote. He won all the swing states. He increased in practically every demographic. And you got people coming on the airways. Well, it really wasn't a referendum against the Democratic Party because, you know what? He didn't get 50% of the vote. He didn't get 50% of the popular vote. Really? They got the White House, the House, and the Senate.
Yeah, they lost and still running around acting like they know everything. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers.
I was speaking macro. I was just saying, hey, yet another thing that they can point to stake some claim to how they've been victimized by the hands of the left. Are they probably lying? Some of them, yeah, sure. But what are the Democrats doing? The Democrats, they're for the working class, they're for the working class, they're for the working class. Well, the working class doesn't feel that way. Then after the election, we're hearing some Democrats go out there and they're talking about how too many people in the party are about catering to the elite. Well, that's what they were accusing the Republicans of doing. You see how confusing it gets? Not for you, Roland. You might know.
Yeah, Roland knows he's a part of the Black Boulé wannabe elite. So he's also a part of the problem everybody complained about, including those Kamala staffers who exposed the elite class in the Democratic Party.
What about your 1.5 million subscribers? They know. What about your boys? They know. What about people that walk through the streets throughout America because you roaming around all over the damn place? They know. If they know so much, Roland, why were you determined for Trump's lies not to be heard? If they know so much, Roland, because they listening to you, why were you so fixated on standing right there in the audience And whenever Trump spoke, you came on this show and you said you were going to stand up and scream lies. If they know, because they listening to you and other folks who think like you and know what you know, then you wouldn't have to worry about doing that, because they would have consumed your message and they would know he's lying, wouldn't they? You know better. And you know that most people are frustrated citizens who vote, who are mindful of the times that we're living in, and want finite, definitive evidence about which side is right and which side is wrong, with no convolution in the equation. And when reports like the DOJ comes out talking about the FBI on January 6th and parsing words like they weren't intentionally inaccurate. Well, why the hell add the word intentionally? You were inaccurate or you were inaccurate? Where the hell intentional comes from? That's a perception. That's an opinion. That's not a fact. That's a report that said they weren't intentionally inaccurate. How can you prove somebody wasn't intentionally inaccurate? That is a thought. It's just me. I know you know what you're talking about in politics. I know what I'm talking about in sports. I just thought that as two common sense people, we could relate to one another feeling frustrated on either side. See, you all the way left, in my opinion. I'm center. I see bullshit on both sides. I know you do too. Better than me.
And Stephen A., he's still not telling it like it is. He's trying to keep his invite to the Boulé party up here, making Roland Martin feel like he's got some great wealth of knowledge. The only thing Roland proved this election cycle is that he's either a complete idiot or a complete fraud. So either he's aware that he's lying and running game on his audience while collecting checks from the Democrats, or he's a complete idiot and really don't know anything for real, or both. Either way, he is not credible. No one should depend on him for information.
The difference is you care a lot more about one side. I don't give a shit about either.
Nah, he only cares because they're cutting the check for him. They have to pay him to attempt to bully people with his soft, sassy self.
I just want as close to the truth as I can get to elevate my level of understanding. I am sorry, Roland Martin, if that was such a bad thing that would get you so riled up that not only did you have to come at me, you had to throw on a cowboy hat to do it. But I liked seeing it on you, bro. It looked good on you. Your panel, it is what it is. That's all I got to say about that. I hope I provided some clarity. I was just frustrated at the right having something in their mind to point to the left about again, and the left seemingly slipping up on providing the ammunition because of the timing of the report coming out and whatever potential role they may or may not have played. I just thought it added fodder and fuel to a side that is already kicking the lefts behind right now. That's all. I wasn't trying to be specific. I was just expressing frustration as a conscientious observer. Not an expert like you, bro. I know my lane.
Listen, these people lost and still refuse to learn from it. They're dismissing everybody else's opinion, acting like they know it all when they know nothing. And that is the reason why people are running away from the Democrat Party. You had a lot of people switch from Democrat to Republican this year, and even more people went from left to center. Folks are obviously tired of people like pork chop head Roland Martin getting up there lying every day. And hey, if you like losing, all I gotta say is keep it up. I could care less if they ever win again, because every time we put Democrats in position, they don't do nothing for us anyway. All they do is undermine us. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Stephen A. versus his friend Roland Martin, who's still crashing out for that $350,000 Kamala check. Tell me what you think about this mess below. Shout out to Emmett. I appreciate you, Emmett, for always showing support for the channel, as well as Elmer. If you want to show your support for the channel too, you have to use PayPal for now. The link is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.